Zofia Nalkowska was born on November 10, 1884 in Warsaw, Poland, to Wacław, an eminent geographer and publicist, and his wife Anna. Her father came from an impoverished petty nobility, and her mother came from a family of civil servants. As a young girl, Zofia was homeschooled until the age of 14, when she began attending a private school for girls for the next 3 years. Nalkowska's talent was developed at an early stage in her life, thanks to the influence of her father and the people that visited him. Nalkowska's childhood home gathered the most prominent scientists, writers, journalists, and activists in Warsaw. She debuted at the age of 14, when her first poem, I Remember, was published in the Weekly Review. After writing poems for over 10 years, Nalkowska decided to abandon the genre. In 1911, Wacław Nalkowski, Nalkowska's father, died, which was a difficult event for Zofia since her father influenced her and her ideas so significantly. During her second composition phase, Nalkowska incorporated her wartime experiences. Novels that she composed during that time frame, such as Secrets of Blood, touched on the subject of World War I. At that time, Nalkowska also worked on the war novel Count Emil, a modern romance. Count Emil is a novel about the war and legions that took part in it under the leadership of Józef Piłsudski. It is an analysis of the response of the protagonist's sensitive psyche to the horrors and phenomenon of war, and is also a complete contrast to the writings of the time, which generally celebrated Polish military deeds. When Poland regained her independence in 1918, enormous changes in social and individual life accompanied the effort of establishing statehood, and the inhabitants of these former Prussian, Russian, and Austrian empires. Nalkowska was also one of the first to give these developments expression in literary form. In Nalkowska's 1924 novel, The Romance of Teresa Henry, that expression is bitter and critical, since she depicts the heroism of the freedom fighters becoming degenerate in conditions of peace. The story expresses one of the constant motifs in her writing, the love story as a metaphor for personal, existential, and social relations. In 1932, Nalkowska began working on Granica, the boundary line, one of her most prominent novels. In this novel, she incorporated a new theory about the existence of a boundary line that divides the world in two. Her inspiration came from personal experiences, including her two unsuccessful marriages with Leon Rygier and Jan Gorzechowski. The boundary line takes place in Warsaw. It describes the life of Zenon Dziębiewicz and the consequences that result from him crossing moral, social, personal, and ideological boundaries. He is torn between his wife Elżbieta and his lover Justine. Elżbieta takes on the role of his wife, lover, and mother. She also forgives Zenon his affair with Justine. Zenon's father lived the same lifestyle and failed to instill in Zenon a sense of morality, and therefore Zenon grows up to be the same as his father. Towards the end of the drama, Zenon is blinded by Justine, who spills acid on his face and who becomes mentally ill after the abortion of their child. Eventually, Zenon understands that one is the way one's place is. After realizing the extent of his defeat and guilt, he ends by committing suicide. The author was awarded for her novel with a state prize in 1936, and it was then transformed into a movie in 1938.
Boisz się mnie? Co? Zenon. Co?
Elżbieto!
After the outbreak of World War II, Nalkowska joined the massive groups of refugees heading towards eastern Poland. Although she participated in underground literary activity, Nalkowska was able to write only in her diary, which became known as her wartime diaries. In May of 1943, Nalkowska notes, "Nothing of the former world holds true anymore. Nothing has remained." In 1945, Nalkowska became a member of the Main Commission for investigating German war crimes in Poland. She visited concentration campsites, attended court proceedings, and talked to survivors. The collected material and personal experiences allowed Nalkowska to create Medallions, a short documentary depicting numerous Nazi crimes and the stories of those who managed to survive extermination camps. The documentary is considered a masterpiece in Holocaust world literature. The commission hears about crimes such as the making of soap from human fat. Towards the end of her life, Nalkowska permanently moved to Warsaw. She became the vice president of the Polish Pen Club, participated in the Polish Writers' Union, and in 1953 was awarded for the State Prize for her lifetime achievements. Zofia Nalkowska died in Warsaw on December 17, 1954, and currently rests at the Powązki Municipal Cemetery. In her youth, Nalkowska was part of the Young Poland movement and inspired many rising authors. She was a grand figure of Polish literature during the first half of the 20th century and an example of the emergence of women authors in Polish culture.